My name is Kate Wisniewski, and I'm here with the Office of Congressman Renacci, hosting the Veterans Interview for the Veterans History Project on July 26, 2017 in Parma, Ohio with Gerald Foust. So, to start off the interview, where and when were you born?
I was born in an apartment building on the east side of Cleveland, 8/24/35. That was my birthday.
Okay, and then did you have any siblings, or were you an only child?
I had siblings. I had 2 brothers and 4 sisters.
Wow. And then, what were your parents doing? What was their job?
My dad worked in a factory. I can't think of the name of the factory. My mother's the housewife.
Okay. And then, so since you had 6 siblings, correct?
Yeah, 6.
Did any of them serve in the military, or?
My one brother did. I can't think of it. I can't think of the name. I can't think of the name of it.
Okay.
George. Yeah, George.
And then, so before you entered the service, what were you doing up in Cleveland? Were you going to school, or?
I was going to school.
Where did you go to school at?
My last school I went to, the last school I went to was in Pennsylvania.
Oh, wow. What was that for?
My mother died early, and I was in Cleveland, and I went to Pennsylvania with my brother and his wife. My mother died. My dad and I quite didn't get along too good together. But things straightened out. And I lived in Pennsylvania for 3 years, in Keysport, Pennsylvania.
Okay.
I worked in a food market, stocking shelves.
Okay. Very cool. And then, so what made you decide to go into the military then?
Well, this is the fun part. My buddy dared me to go in the Marine Corps with him. I said, okay, we'll do that. He said, are you sure? I said, yes, I'm sure. We'll go in the Marine Corps. So he went to the recruiter's office. We were talking, he said, you'd be serving, he said, you know you'd be serving for 8 years? We looked at each other. I said, okay, we'll do it. So, after what he said, I have to get out of the Marine Corps. I can't take this kind of work. I can't take the DIs. DIs are nasty, for one thing. So I said, well, okay, I'm going to stay in. So I stayed in. And I'm glad I did. That taught me a lot.
Wow, that is so cool. And then,
now here's something funny. At the end, we already got out of the boot training. We had to sit in one area, wait for to get shipped out. We had to go home for vacation. So we're all sitting there, all of a sudden fights broke out.
oh no.
Tents were burned. The Northerns, Southerns against the Northerners. That broke out. We had a big fight.
Wow.
I don't know why it happened, because to me it's stupid. But that's what happened.
So, when you said that your DIs during boot camp were really difficult and rough, do you want to go into kind of that experience at boot camp? And
well, I'll tell you, if I was younger, it'd be a lot different now. But like I said, the training in the Marine Corps at that time was real nasty. You had to go up against the DIs and fight up against with them. There's one story I don't want to talk about because it involved too many people.
Yeah. So, during boot camp, where were you stationed at?
Paris Island, South Carolina.
And then, what was the hardest part of boot camp? Like, did you have a hard time readjusting to that compared to civilian life back in Pennsylvania?
Well, it wasn't too much. It was really adjustment with how you got trained in the Marine Corps.
Okay.
Because if you haven't gone through that, and you think that it's going to be easy, it's not going to be easy. It was bad. It was rough.
Wow. And then, so during boot camp, do you remember like what food you ate? Was it good, or?
Okay, now in boot camp, we went to the mess hall. They had good food.
Mm-hmm.
I can't complain about the food. They had enough. And they made decent meals. I smoked a pipe and I smoked cigars. And this one sergeant asked me, he says, "Hey, I like the smell of your tobacco." He said, "Mind if I have some?" So I gave him some. So he smoked outside for a while. We went in the mess hall. He says, "Hey, come here, I have a job for you." I worked on the prison mess hall.
Okay.
I was a server, not the server, I was a head in charge of the mess hall there, of that wing.
Mm-hmm.
Just because smoking pipe tobacco, he said, "I have a job for you, come here." It was an easy job.
Very nice. And then, what was life like living in the barracks during that time? Was that difficult, or?
It is. It's difficult. Because like at home, you might have a family.
Mm-hmm.
You might have brothers and sisters, but that's a lot different. A bunch of them in the barracks. It's kind of rough that way.
Yeah. And
You
then,
didn't get much sleep either. The guys come down banging on garbage cans, and garbage cans is waking people up in that.
wow, that's crazy. And then, were you able to keep in contact with your family during that time, or was it kind of you were on your own at boot camp?
No, we had times you could get in touch with the family.
Did you do it by letters, or? Okay. And then, so after boot camp, where did you end up going to? Kind of what was your journey post boot camp?
After I got out of boot camp, I went to Cherryport, North Carolina, the Marine Air Wing.
Okay. What was that experience like? If you could talk about anything there or any funny stories.
The part I liked about it, I was an aircraft painter. And that taught me because at one instant, I was in the paint shop, during the paint shop, and I come in, my hand was on fire. But that was the reason for that. I had stuff in my hand. It got lit, it didn't burn me. I opened the door, went like that, and when the sergeant, he choked back, he hit the wall. And I put it out. He said, I don't want to say what he said.
Wow, that's so interesting.
I still can't figure out what was on my hand. That my skin didn't get burned or nothing, but my hand was lit.
Huh. And then, so did you like that job that you were doing?
Oh yes.
And
for one reason, I'll tell you, I painted. What did I paint? Painted signs, painted lamps, painted different things, and I sold them. People bought them.
very cool. During that time, did you become close with anybody that you worked like alongside with? And
No, we were all close. We were all close.
mm-hmm. And were you able to keep in contact with them once kind of your lives all went separate ways, or?
Oh, a couple of them I did, but I can't figure out that same thing happened to the National Guard. You write to these people, you come on the phone, they don't call right back.
Mm-hmm.
So I tried the reason why they didn't do it, so I just gave up on it.
Yeah. So after you were in North Carolina, what kind of was your path after that? I know that you mentioned you went into the National Guard, and if you want to go into that experience, that would be great.
Well, most of my life I was a forklift operator. Almost every place I went to work, I was an operator on the forklift. That was pretty interesting.
Mm-hmm.
On the National Guard, that was something else. I went in there as a rank hire, and my job was being either instructor on heavy equipment or an operator. I had both of them.
Okay. And so when did you join the National Guard? Do you remember the year?
That was in 1975.
Okay, and then, so during that time period, what was the National Guard like compared to the Marine Corps?
Very mild. Everything was a lot different.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's no bad feelings about nothing in the National Guard. I didn't have any. I was with my unit about 17 years, my same unit.
Wow.
And I retired in 92. But I know I think there's a difference because you have a different variety of people. Very different. Well, we didn't have DIs in the National Guard. We did the head sergeants.
Okay.
But everything else is fine.
Okay. So where did you start off with the National Guard? Where were you kind of sent after you joined that
I had to go to Jefferson Proving Ground, Indiana. My first boot camp.
How was that?
Kind of rough. The ground was rough. We had bad weather. And one part about it, they were going to close the camp down. Because I don't know why, but they were going to close the camp down. And the sergeant come up and asked me, he said, we have to move all those dead vehicles out of the way, get into a certain area. He said, I don't know how I'm going to do it. I'm going to go get a tow truck. I said, forget it. I got on the bucket loader, opened the bucket up, I pushed everything out of the way. I had a driver steering where we were supposed to take all the equipment. He was surprised to see that what we did.
Wow, very cool. So did you like that boot camp? I know you said it was kind of difficult, but compared to your first one, did you?
Well, that was fine. I had nothing wrong with the second one.
Okay. And then, was it similar to the Marine Corps one? Or easier, harder?
It was easier.
Easier.
For me, it was easier. The job I had, with me being an instructor, I taught men how to, anybody that wanted to learn how to operate the equipment, I taught them how to do it. They wanted to learn. I even taught officers how to do it.
Wow, very cool.
And load and unload trucks with the equipment on it. You know, you had to take it from the ground, back it up on the ramp, up on that flatbed, and park it.
Okay.
Drive it back off.
Very cool. So after you went through boot camp, where did you go next with the National Guard?
All over. All over. Well, I don't get around to that. But every time anything, the training, we had to go to training with the National Guard for riot control. But I never had to go for riots. But we were trained for all that.
Okay.
Now in the National Guard, when anything broke out, any bad things, like bad incidents broke out, National Guard was going out. The snow removal, I was always called out. That one year, I can't remember what year it was, by the airport, Brook Park Road's closed down. They had snow piles all over, underneath the snow piles of the vehicle. And we had to go dig them out.
Wow.
And that was a long stretch of road too. But down on there, the people are so nice in the area. They let us have free coffee, free meals. In fact, they bring the coffee right up to your forklift, in your bucket loader.
That's very nice.
It is.
So after your boot camp, were you sent kind of back to the Cleveland area for the National Guard, and that's kind of where you did?
I had to go to a boot camp.
Okay.
I already had to train in the Marine Corps.
Okay. So were you primarily in Cleveland then?
Oh, yes. No, wait a minute. In '89, I went to Honduras. Because our unit had to go to Honduras. My son was on National Guard too, but we could not go on the same plane. We had to go on separate planes there and back. They didn't want any family members going on the same plane.
Really?
Yes.
Well, do you know the reasoning for that, or?
Well, see, even things change up. Back then they didn't want it, but now you can do it. Everything's changing. They don't want anybody, if one person got killed, like a plane went down, there had been two on the plane, but there would be one going down.
Okay. Makes sense.
It does.
And then, so what were you doing in Honduras then for the National Guard?
We were there for 2 weeks. And the funny part about that, not the funny part, the part that I really enjoyed, that we looked up in the sky. Here's a bunch of helicopters up there. We got put on a bus from where we stopped at to go to where we had to go and work at. Up above the helicopters flying loaded with weapons. to keep us safe in what they're going towards where they have to go to.
Wow. And then, so when you were in Honduras, what were you doing there? Was it with
No,
civilians?
we were repairing roads and making roads.
Okay. That's cool.
Oh, yes.
And so, what was Honduras like for those of us who have never gone there?
Well, some parts were scary. We go in our work area, there'd be a bunch of youngsters around. And you look at those youngsters, your eyes start to water. Because they didn't get fed right.
Aw.
And they're just malnutrition. They look real bad, they look real sad.
Mm-hmm. And then, did you get to talk with any of the civilians there and kind of...
If you could speak their language.
Okay.
Or you could get an interpreter, but I didn't get any.
Okay. And then, what was, I guess, the food like there when you were stationed over there?
Well, it depends where you were at. If you were out in the field, the MRIs. That's food packets.
Okay.
We ate enough of them.
What were the food packets made
They
of?
were good. Some of those food packets, I can't name all of them because there's different variety of them.
What was your, if you could pick your favorite one, what was it kind of consisted of?
Oh boy. I can't remember that.
Okay. But at least they were good.
They were good.
And then, you said your son was there as well, correct?
Right.
Did you guys get to work together then?
We slept in the same tent.
Oh, very cool.
Oh yes.
That's a fun experience at
It
least
is.
to share with him and everything. So, during the National Guard time period, was it easy to stay in contact with like your friends and family during that?
About the same as the Marine Corps.
Okay.
But he had more free time in the National Guard.
Okay. What did you do then during like your free time in the National Guard?
Well, I like to teach men how to operate the equipment.
Mm-hmm.
So I had him operating the forklift, then I'd go over the bucket loader. I'd be walking back and forth. And some of the members of the National Guard came back and thanked me for how I taught them how to use the good equipment. Because that, when they go back to civilian life, that helped them a heck of a lot. Because they had training. I had them doing everything you could possibly think of.
So, you said that it was easy, like, after going through the National Guard and learning all that, to go back to civilian life, correct?
So one thing, when I was in the National Guard, how I made my rank as staff sergeant is before we got out, they made me go up in the ranks with our uniforms on. He said, Jerry, make sure that your uniform is clean, everything's fine. Make sure your shave is okay, your mustache is okay. He says, don't wear no sunglasses. Okay, I got in the rank. They called my name out. I go out in front of the people, out in front of the recruits. They made me a staff sergeant for the extra work I did.
Wow, that's awesome.
It is.
And when do you remember the year that you got that promotion, or?
It was in '92.
Okay.
That's when I got in the Marine Corps. I'm in the National Guard.
Okay, very cool. And then, so when did you officially end your time in the service?
May 18th, 92.
92. And then, so what did you do then after that?
I worked in GE. Again, I was operating equipment, forklift.
Mm-hmm.
I went to another place. They built machines there at that place. Again, I was a forklift operator. I went to another place, Unibus. I worked there for 26 years, being an operator. I'm making crates for stuff going out, units going out.
Okay.
We were making transfer electrical units in this one place.
Okay, very cool. And then, did you start a family, or kind of do you want to go into that aspect of after the?
Well, the way I met her, and this is cute. I met my wife, okay? I met my wife through a friend of mine. we were going on dates.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how I got to meet her.
Very cool. And when did you guys get married?
We got married. I see my mind's going a little bit.
You're good, no worries. So,
I know. 1958 we got married.
okay. And then how, did you have any kids or
Yes.
how many did you
Yeah.
have?
4 girls and 1 boy.
Did any of them go into the military after, like, I know you said your son went,
Right.
but did any of the girls or
No.
So was it easy adjusting then back to kind of civilian life since you were already married and then?
Well, it was kind of rough for me because raising a family back then was real. I had 3 part-time jobs, a full daytime job. Was also in the National Guard.
Wow. That
I was
is
busy.
crazy.
I was
Like
busy.
busy nonstop.
No, it went on quite a bit, but it was worth it.
Mm-hmm.
Here's a good part, okay? Now my family, they like riding bikes.
Mm-hmm.
I went out rubbish picked. I got a bunch of bikes, put them in the backyard. I put them together. I switched everything around so they all had bikes. And I even a few of them left over. The neighbors come over and got them. But
Awesome.
that was fun.
Mm-hmm.
I even miss doing that now.
Yeah, that's such a fun experience
It
that
is.
you got to have with everyone. And then, so were you able to keep in contact with any of the friends that you made? I know you mentioned kind of it's
But that's
difficult.
another thing. Where I worked at, my last job I had, I used to call this one guy all the time. In fact, there was 3 of them. But this one guy lasted a bit longer than, like I called them, or write them letters and that, they don't answer back. It's okay.
And then, so did you join any veterans organizations to kind of keep in touch with?
I belonged to American Legion in Berea, post 91.
Very cool. Are you close with the people there that served or?
No, they all more or less have their own group.
Okay.
When you walk into the building, you walk into the room, they're scattered all over, but you don't see very many in one group.
Mm-hmm. Do you do anything like kind of to help other veterans organizations? I know some posts do like outreach with other groups or any of
No.
that. No. So after you separated from the military, what else was life like? I know you had kids and you were working a lot, but was there anything like fun memories that you want to share from that time or?
Oh, what I can do for the family. That was more important to me.
Mm-hmm. So how did the war, like, or your experiences within both branches and all of that kind of shape how you were going to live like the rest of your life and then like raise your family?
Well, that was kind of a rough decision because having a family, the main thing is on the family.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure they had enough food, make sure they had enough clothing. That's why I worked at all the different jobs in that.
Yeah. So
Because the one job I had, I worked at a bar in the morning before I went to my daytime job.
Mm-hmm.
I spent 2 hours there, and I got finished there. I went to work on a daytime job. 9.5 years I did that.
Wow. So did any like did you learn any lessons that kind of like shaped who you turned out to be in your life through the like because of the military or?
Well, I'll tell you, I'm glad that the training in the Marine Corps, I didn't have to use it.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's kind of scary. But not only that, what really hurts me now, having all these idiots out on the street doing what they do.
Yeah.
And I myself, it's too bad that the laws are so doggone lax the way they are. Now, if I seen anybody going up and shooting like a family and that, if I had a gun, I'd blow their brains out. I would.
Mm-hmm.
They They get off too easy. I don't go for that.
Yeah. So that was obviously, did you learn like the lessons of like respect and stuff through the Marine Corps? Like, were there any main things that they kind of taught you?
Well, respect the Marine Corps, it really makes your, the way you act around other people, you have to watch yourself close.
Mm-hmm.
I know, I still have to watch myself close. You, like I said before about those idiots that should be in jail for what they did. Not only that, they put them in jail for what they did. Get rid of them. I'm sorry I feel that way, but
no,
it's
don't
sad.
Share whatever.
It's sad.
Your story. Mm-hmm.
If they're going to take a person's life, the heck with them. Take theirs.
Mm-hmm. And then, so how did your service, so all those years you spent, kind of shape your view about the military? Do you think everybody should go in the military? Is it good, bad?
No, I wouldn't say that. Because, well, it wouldn't hurt them to go in the military, especially peacetime. For wartime, that's all gets different because I used to try to be a recruiter. I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
Because I think to myself, my guys, I got to talk to these men here and women here to have them stay in. If they can't take it, let them go.
Yeah. So, do you have any like lessons or messages that you'd like to leave for future generations who will watch this video years from now and kind of?
Well, that's up to the people. That's up to them.
Okay. Let me see. Is there anything else that you want to share? Any like stories from your service? Because we still have a little bit of time to.
How much time?
4 minutes.
4 minutes? Oh.
You're doing great. But if there's any, I don't know if there was any funny stories.
I'll tell you a funny thing. When I was in the Marine Corps, around one area, we had to carry loaded weapons. Around the ammunition area, you had to carry weapons loaded.
Mm-hmm.
And the captain asked me, he says, what would you do if you caught a person out walking through the area that shouldn't be there? I said, well, what am I supposed to do? Let them go? No. Either I wound them or I'll kill them.
Wow.
Because I have no choice. If they don't stop, when you say hold 3 times, they don't stop. That's it.
Wow. That is crazy.
Well, not only that, I was run the area, and the person in charge had his family out there. And he says, you didn't challenge me when you came into the area. I said, sure. I said, I don't have to. I said, I know who you are. I said, if I didn't know who you were and you didn't stop, and I said stop, I said, big bullet right between your eyes.
Wow. So, if you could sum it up, what was your favorite memory from all of those years and
getting out of the military and going back home.
And then, I guess, on the other side, what was your least favorite part of it?
My friends that didn't contact with me, I got into contact with them. I was sort of a little uneasy about
Yeah, that's definitely very hard.
It is. After you spend all that time in the same branch of service and that, do what we did.
So, I'm trying to think if there's anything else.
You still need time?
1 minute. If you could go back into time and change anything, if you could change anything, would you do it, or?
Well, I'll tell you right now, the men going in the military nowadays, they've got too lax. They should go back to the olden days where the DIs could teach them and hand-to-hand stuff, instead of letting them go like a bunch of wimps. You can't do that anymore.
Yeah.
No, if you don't get treated rough, the way you're supposed to get treated, like I did. Things that your mind isn't going to be that much when you have to go overseas in that.
Yeah.
Well, if you get manhandled a little bit, you're a little bit roughed up, it'd be a lot different. Everything's too lax now.
Yeah. Well, if there's anything that you would like to add, this is your time to do so. If not, we are good with the interview, so.
You know, if you want to go into the service, make sure you want to go into, but don't think it'll be a big JoJo going to the Marine Corps, because you might be making a mistake, because it might be a little bit too rough for you, that what you go through.
Well, future generations will now be able to hear your story and everything. So thank you again for coming in.